ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 9, Dhruva Maharaj returns home, verses 38 to 38 to 41. So, verse 38. Shraddhaya Vakyam Devarshir Harshaveganadharshita Vartahartur Atiprito Haram Pradhan Mahadanam. Synonym: Shraddhaya, keeping faith, Vakyam, in the words Devarshe of the great sage Narada, Harsha Vegena, by great satisfaction, Darshita, overwhelmed, Vartahartur, with the messenger who brought the news, Atipritaha, being very satisfied, Aram, a pearl necklace, Pradat, offered, Mahadanam, very valuable. Translation by His Divine Grace A. Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although he could not believe the words of the messenger, he had full faith in the word of the great sage Narada. Thus, he was greatly overwhelmed by the news, and he immediately offered the messenger a highly valuable necklace in the great satisfaction. Text 39 and 40. Sad asvam ratam aruya kartaswara pariskritam brahmane kulavraddescha पर्यस्तो मत्यबन्धुभिः शङ्खदुन्दुभिनादेन ब्रह्मघोषेण वेणुभिः निश्चक्रामापुरतुर्णम् आत्मजाभिषणोत्सुका. Synonyms: Sat Asvam, drawn by very fine horses. Ratham, chariot. Aruya, getting on. Kartaswara Pariskritam, bedecked with golden filigree. Brahmane, with Brahmanas. Kula Vradde, along with elderly personalities of the family. Cha, also. Paryashta, being surrounded. Amatya, by officers and ministers. Bandhubi, and friends. Sanka, of conch shells. Dandubi, and kettle drums. Nadhena, with the sound. Brahma Ghoshena, with the chanting of Vedic mantras. Venubi, by flutes. Nishkakrama, he came out Purat from the city. Turnam, with great haste. Atmaja, son. Abhikshana, to see. Utsuka, very anger. Translation: Then King Uttanapada, being very eager to see the face of his lost son, mounted a chariot drawn by excellent horses and bedecked with gold and filigree, taking with him many learned Brahmanas, all the elderly personalities of his family, his officers, his ministers, and his immediate friends. He immediately left the city. As he proceeded in this parade, there were auspicious sounds of conch shells, kettle drums, flutes, and the chanting of Vedic mantras to indicate all good fortune. Text 41. Suniti Suruchischasya Mahishya Rukma Bushite Arya Shibikam Sardam Uttamenabi Jagmatu. Synonym: Suniti, Queen Suniti. Surichi, Queen Surichi. Cha, also Asya of the king. Mahishya, queens. Rukma Bhushite, being decorated with golden ornaments. Aruya, getting on. Sibikam, a palanquin. Sardam, along with Uttamena, the king's other son Uttama. Abhi Jagmatu, all proceeded along. Translation: Both the queens of King Uttanapada, namely Suniti and Surichi, along with his other son Uttama, appeared in the procession. The queens were seated on a palanquin. Purport: After the departure of Dhruva Maharaj from the place, the king was very afflicted, but by the kind words of Saint Narada, he was partially satisfied. He could understand the great fortune of his wife Suniti and the great misfortune of Queen Suruchi. For these facts were certainly very open in the palace, but still, when the news reached the palace that Dhruva Maharaj was returning, his mother Suniti, out of her great compassion and due to being the mother of a great Vaishnava, did not hesitate to take the other wife Surichi and her son Uttama on the same palanquin. That was the greatness of Queen Suniti, the mother of great Vaishnava Dhruva Maharaj. Thus ends the purport. Om Ajnana Timiran ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रोमपदस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। I humbly bow down and seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity to purify myself, and please forgive me for any shortcomings or misinterpretations. I will do my best to represent the same lecture which I had from Radhesham Prabhu's lecture, and this is titled Devotional Service Dissolves Envy and Revengeful Mode, and exactly from 38 to 41 of 4.9.38 to 41. So we have been discussing the chapter Dhruva Maharaj returns home. Prior to this, we have seen that Dhruva Maharaj uh, left home for the forest. So once Dhruva Maharaj left forest, at that time, Narad Muni came to Dhruva's house to meet his father, King Uttanapada. And but Narad Muni knows everything because he has given the complete knowledge, devotional service, and Ashtanga Yoga process and everything, and he showed everything. Yeah, he explained everything how the finally Lord Vishnu looks like. So he went into the forest. He continued his austerity, and it's time to come back. He came back. But once Dhruva Maharaj left home, when Narada reaches to Dhruva's father's uh, palace place, we may think that okay, Narada went there to specify King Uttanapada and to uplift him because he is afflicted after the departure of Dhruva Maharaj. But ultimately, that is not the target of Narad Muni's intention. And his intention is to make him devotee as well. That's it. Because he is a great sage, great spiritual master, and he is very close to Lord, and he is cultivating, and he is maintaining Lord's feelings in his heart always. So finally, Narad's intention is to deliver all the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. So here again, before Dhruva uh, uh, King Uttanapada, and in the latter chapters also we will see the other descendants like Prachina, Parishad, Prachetas, and etc. All the some descendants of Dhruva's family. So Narada's his intention not only Dhruva and his father, all his descendants has to liberate and make all the family devotees. That's what his intention. In our life also, generally when we get certain stage in our devotional service, when we become nista stage, then we can also try in our family, like making, if husband is a pure devotee, then making wife, after kids, grandparents, so that it purifies and it helps a lot by this application. so we can advance in our life as well. That is a lesson we can learn from Narad Muni. Next, because the example we can see here, if any person becoming a devotee coming from a one normal family, that means not only he, his family is also great in that, because we can see I have Prabhu says in this very good example that a mango is coming from a mango tree, but initially it will come from a flower to bud, then normal mango, then ripened mango. After that, not only one mango, the mango trees gives multiple mangoes. Similarly, we can use that principle and we can try so that it will become for our own purification. That helps a lot. That is the ultimate final intention of the Narad Muni. Next, coming back to King Uttanapada, is strongly attached to his beautiful looking wife Surichi, and because of that attachment, is not able to reply back when she spoke sharply about Dhruva, and he could not able to stop Dhruva for going into the forest. She is a 5 years old kid. He could not able to stop because of his strong attachment for the family. So since King Ukanapada lamented, so from here we can see that attachment and aversion are two great enemies to progress in spiritual life. So when we are afflicted by a disease of raga and dvesha, then we will become very tough-hearted. So it will, I mean, like these attachment and aversion are very two important factors which always blocks our devotional service. So we have to be very careful whatever we do. So at the same time, King Uttanapada is coming from a royal family and it cannot be condemned totally, because Narada came and told glories of Dhruva Maharaj performing meditation in the forest. Uh, how Dhruva is standing. I mean, he's explaining everything, all his life in the forest, like how Dhruva we have seen in the previous chapters. Previous verses. How Dhruva is standing in one lake, what kind of food he's eating. We have seen that very clearly. First month he had only tasteless fruit for 3 days, and for second month he took leaves once in 6 days, and third month he took water once in 9 days. Fourth month he took air once in 12 days, and fifth month he stopped taking air also. Where all at that point, at that stage, where all the universe trembled. So this is very severe austerity of Dhruva Maharaj. So he's trying to explain all these things, each and everything very clearly to his father, King Uttanapada. Here, Narada explaining to King Uttanapada because he had two purposes. One thing is to inspire him about devotional service, and second thing is that to sever the tie of material attachment, because he's strongly attached to the material life and the heart of Uttanapada for his and he wants to cut down that one. He wants to change his heart, and where he is becoming forgetful of Lord Vishnu and completely hard-hearted to his Dhruva, negligence of his Dhruva Maharaj, and he's forgetting his goal of life. So in order to overcome that, Narad Muni is trying to help him. That is the main purpose of going there. But in the 38 and 38, we have seen that uh, a messenger came to inform that okay, Dhruva is coming back from the forest, but he did not pay that much high attention. But as soon as he knows that it is coming from Narad Muni, then he paid very high attention, because he knows that authoritatively it is coming. And in our life also we have see we just sometimes if any information comes non-authoritatively, we won't pay any attention. But if it comes from authoritatively, we pay a lot of attention. What if, for example, a weather forecasting? If someone normal person says that there is a disaster or earthquake is going to happen, we won't believe it. But it is coming from authoritative or maybe news channel or from health department or climate department, then we will see very authoritative. So whatever we are seeing and we are hearing, that is this is coming from authoritative from the parampara. So that is what the process is pure over here. That is what we can learn from here. And whenever we will hear any lecture, the mind gets observed, and we can see that during daytime also we can contemplate on those lectures, and it helps in our progress. Similarly, uh, That is the what Narad Muni is bringing from King Uttanapad, because he's a great soul. First of all, he's coming from a great family, like uh, from Swayambhu Manu and Shatrupa, his parents, who has five kids, like two boys and three girls. Priyavrata and Uttanopada are the males, and Devahuti, Yahuti, and Prositi are the females. And again, they are coming from royal family, descendants of Swayambhu Manu. So he knows everything, but since he's strongly attached to that family, so he wants to bring out that, he wants to remove the top layer so that he can become a devotee. That's what Narada is trying. Now again, coming to the point, Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest, and he, with hard tears, because of his mother and situation, but it coming back with a cool tears, because he had darshan of Lord Vishnu. He got the knowledge of Ashtanga Yoga, and he know how to do the austerity, and he did it, and he performed, and he saw the Lord. He did it everything with 100%, and he's coming back. So in our life also, when we learn the lesson, when we learn the shastras, and after that when we try to see the Lord with the spiritual knowledge, it is going to be very high benefited rather than with mundane vision. So that's the reason the spiritual reading and spiritual knowledge is very, very important. That is what we can see from these verses. And next thing, uh, in the 41, uh, in the 41 purport, Prabhupada explains clearly importance of Mother Suniti. Here we can see uh, the greatness of Suniti. Although Surichi is not favorable to the situation, but Suniti, when they know the news, reached the palace with that Dhruva Maharaj was returning about the news. His mother Suniti, out of her great compassion and due to being the mother of a great Vaishnava, did not hesitate to take other wife Surichi and her son Uttama on the same palanquin. So he took invited her. That means when we don't have any feelings, any hard-hearted feelings in our mind, we can do that. But how to remove those feelings? Because we are here for somehow or the reason, and we are practicing, but we need to remove those feelings from our heart. That is coming from devotional service. So when we perform the devotional service very sincerely, the envy and the revengefulness goes away from our heart. Otherwise, these due to these attachments and aversions, as since these are two sides of the coin, we are unable to progress. Ultimately, we need to remove the false ego and develop the true ego so that it helps us. The false ego is like, I'm a rich, I'm a poor, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, etc. But just remove those words and put it like a servant. I'm a Krishna servant. That's it. I'm a parcel of spiritual kingdom, not the material world. I'm not the parcel, not this. Not belongs to this material world. If you develop those feelings, then it helps us a lot so that we can advance. So that is what we can see from this final verse. So I will stop here once again. Please forgive me if I interpret anything. So once again, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Vanja kalpatarubhasya cha